In this video today, we are going to review and summarize Alex Hormozi's email campaign strategy. He posted a video called The Surprising Way I Use Email Marketing. He goes over how he turns $11,000 into $45,000. Heard that right. We're going to review it. We're going to summarize it. We're going to talk about it. Let's go. So this is a video Alex released. Now, I've watched this video and I have to say Alex's approach is practical, driven by data, and it's based on his results. He deployed many emails. He claims nearly 10 million emails, and he says there are tens of millions in revenue generated from those emails. Now, I stopped at this specific scene because I wanted to go over it quickly. Here he answers why email is so profitable. Number one, you've already spent the resources to acquire a contact on your email list. So whatever way that contact came to your email list, if you ran an ad campaign, if you reached out to people, that contact at the very least required effort, time, and resources. And all of that was already paid for. The successful moment is when you receive that person's email. Second, email has a high leverage because of the volume possible with one copywriter. So he speaks as to how one copywriter can write X amount of emails. Let's say it's 100 emails, 250, even 10 emails. But all those emails can be focused on revenue. Now, Alex kicks off his video by emphasizing the insane ROI you could get from email marketing. He mentions that for every dollar spent, you will see returns of $30 to $45. He mentions it's like a stock investment that could potentially 50x in a week. So let's head over to that portion of the video now.
Money, apparently. And so the average ROI for email, depending on the source you look at, is between 35 and 45 return. So that means that for every dollar you spend on software or putting time into your email, you can get back. Like if there was a stock investment that you could 50x in a week. Well, that's kind of like email is, and people still don't do it, myself included. And part of the reason that making money on email is more profitable is because you actually have already spent the time to acquire this contact. And so in a lot of ways, email is just follow-up. And so you spent the cost to acquire the lead, now you're just reminding them that you exist. And so basically the only real cost is just whatever software you use and whoever or whomever you may have to pay in order to write the emails.
Now, another important part of Alex's video is the purpose of each email. He states that every email you send should have one of two purposes: to increase the likelihood of a future purchase or to drive an immediate purchase. And let's head over to that section now.
Massive, very invisible platform. And so as I think about email, the objective of the email has one of two purposes. One is to increase the likelihood that this person purchases in the future or that they purchase. That's fundamentally it. And so it basically has the exact same objectives as content. And so it's just a different form of content consumption, except where you can guarantee that you get delivery. Whereas when you make a post, the algorithm decides who gets to see it. When you send an email, basically your past performance determines whether or not they get to see it. And there's a couple of little...
So Alex points something out that is very interesting when he compares emails to social media. He's correct. With social media, the algorithms crawl the information to figure out how well a post should be published, or in other words, the scope of the push. That means if you post something on Twitter, there's an algorithm figuring out how that post should be promoted and to who. If you post something on Instagram, there's an algorithm figuring out who should see that post, when, and why. So the biggest issue with social media is the fact that nobody's on it only to be ignored. If people are interacting, commenting, sharing, that's a good sign when it comes to the algorithms, and that content will likely be pushed out. You don't have that with emails. You write an email, you send it to a bunch of people, and you're set. There are a few specific elements to play. So for example, your domain name, bounce rates, open rates, but in general, your email list is something you own. It's not prone to the systematic criticism subject to algorithms on social media because an email list is something you own. Now he goes into these email nuggets, and one of the most important things he highlights in these 10 email nuggets is how people treat unsubscribes. Here's what he says.
So first things first, everybody wants to talk about how much you can make from email, but no one talks about unsubscribing, right? No one wants, it's like the dirty other. Every time you communication out, there's gonna be people who unsubscribe. And I don't see unsubscribing nearly as negatively as other people do. And I'll explain why. When I look at our people who show up to workshops, a lot of times they are people who unsubscribed. So it's not an insult. It's like they know who I am, they're in. I don't see it as a negative per se. Also, every single day, thousands of people unsubscribe from my Instagram, thousands of people unsubscribe from YouTube, but I just have more people who subscribe. And so I just see the process of advertising is letting people know about your stuff. And so if someone unsubscribes, they absolutely know about you and your stuff. And it doesn't necessarily mean they don't want to buy. It just might not mean that that form of communication or that particular inbox they opted in with is the one that they want to use. Fine.
So Alex points out something incredible here. Sending out emails or social media to people who are not necessarily interested in what you are saying or the medium you're using will not really hurt your delivers in the long term. Instead, they help you improve the quality of your list because the people staying behind are truly interested in what it is you are saying. And this lowers the chances of people who want to read your emails. In fact, if somebody remains on your list and remains dormant, they're a ghost, they never interact with your content, it's actually worse for you as opposed to having that person unsubscribe. Plus, if you haven't sent emails in a while, expect a higher unsubscribe rate because these people don't really remember you. They don't remember what it is you pitch, what it is you offer. So they receive a random email and they're trying to figure out who is this person, and they'll naturally unsubscribe. Now, Alex says in terms of content, you want to reward the reader for opening the email. Let's go into that.
Stick with it, and that's what I've done. So right off the bat, I think about everything in terms of feedback cycles and reward. And so I want to reward every action that someone takes. And so if someone first reads the email, then if they've been rewarded in the past from Resume in a Minute, they'll click and they'll open it. Now I need to reward them for that. So a lot of people think about behavior as what happened before that triggered someone to do something, but that's actually not how behavior works, and that's been proven. The way behavior works is that you did that thing because you did it another time in the past and rewarded for it. So if you want to see why someone does something, look at what happens after they do it. Because when you do a behavior, you do it to get something to change or to improve your life in some way, right?
So here he speaks about rewarding people for following your content. He says to reward the reader for opening the email, reward every action that somebody takes as well. And you could do that by starting with a quote or tweet, something that people can read quickly. So if you were to write a quote as a way to open your email, then when they open the email, you could go into greater context explaining the meaning of that quote, how it came to be, and why it is relevant today. And we are going to end there. If you want to watch the entire video yourself, there's a link in the description below. And I'm also running my free masterclass. It teaches you how to profit from emails just like Alex does. And it's all free. If you'd like to join, the link is in the description below.